with your host, Jerry Park.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Pat Jones Show. I'm Jerry Park. The Cowboys just returning from Miami, where they suffered a 40-3 defeat at the hands of the second-ranked Miami Hurricanes. Coach Jones, as we begin the program today, what was your game plan going in?
Jerry, we thought that for us to have a realistic opportunity to win the ball game, we had to milk the clock. If you look back at what Miami had done, Arkansas and Tulsa had some moderate success running the ball. Houston had gone out there and tried to get into an up-tempo ball game with them, and they're too talented to do that sort of thing with, in my opinion. They run too well. They're geared that way themselves. Sure, we had to avoid major setbacks early, which we could not do. And I think we'll see in this first drive coming up here that we did some things, and I think some pretty impressive things against that level of competition. Basically, when you get into one of these, Jerry, you really have no margin of error. Anytime you make an error, it's going to get magnified because of their overall ability.
Well, you said earlier in the week that just keep it close until halftime, and then at that point, perhaps make a little bit of move, and you'd feel a lot better about it.
Well, you try to drive it down in there deep if you can. If you can do that, they will tend to get a little bit frustrated. Obviously, we're a big underdog. They're a heavy favorite. They're coming off an open date. We're coming off an open date. But try to drive it late, try to frustrate them, try to play sound, try not to give up big plays, this sort of thing. Some of this we were able to do. By and large, we were not. I think we had 3 plays that went against us in the first half that really knocked us in the head momentum-wise.
The team in awe of playing in the Orange Bowl?
I don't think as much as the Orange Bowl. I think the level of talent of Miami, Miami is very, very gifted. I mean, they're a very, very talented squad and really know what they're doing and have been in a lot of big ball games like this. I think it was a pretty good learning experience for our people. The heat was very, very dramatic. I think it affected our guys, and I think it affected Miami because it was warm even for that part of the country. But again, I think we grew up again in some areas, but this is a very talented Miami club.
You talked about the heat. You talked about the first drive, and we'll take a look at that first drive and the highlights of the first quarter when the Pat Jones Show continues in just a minute. In his opening remarks, Coach Pat Jones alluded to the heat and to the opening drive. Pat, it was 91 degrees with a relative humidity of 74% as we begin the game, and you took the opening kickoff.
Well, Miami had won the toss and elected to defer, and we took the ball. Again, Miami, they kind of mishit this kickoff here a little bit. Scotty Harmon gives a nice effort. Again, he got a little bit banged up, and we tried to be a little bit guarded with him. Jerry had to take him out at one point in the first half. We had to take him, kind of relieve him of some duties as far as his return game. You can see now we're coming off the ball pretty good, certainly being pretty conservative. Russell Berrien was running with some authority. We were so very, very conscious of protecting the football backed up. This is a called quarterback draw. Here's a replay of it coming up. They're so aggressive with their front that you can see now we're coming off the play fake here. Ford is hesitating and getting up the field. They don't stay blocked very long, and again, they can recover awfully fast, but this was a big first down. Okay, now we turn, give the ball off. Berrien is spinning, and we're getting positive yards. We have not really been hit in the mouth or given a loss at this point. Okay, now we run the fullback Roger Franks, which Franks and Rod Sanders had a pretty good day at fullback considering. Here's a replay of it. This is the first time really Big Franks has gotten turned up the field this year. So we're moving the sticks and we're moving the ball and we're eating up the clock. Now we do get hit in the head right there. They start blitzing us and start doing a few things. All right, this is another quarterback draw. Ford breaks a tackle, gets up the field, so now we're nearing midfield, and we're doing the things at this point, Jerry, that I thought that we had to give ourselves a chance. Okay, we do come back and overthrow Burt Milner here, and we come in and punch. You can see that we got a little bit of pressure there, but now we're going to kick them down to their 12-yard line, which, again, we had eaten up about 5 minutes of the clock. They come out, throw a little check down pass. Felt like, again, giving them a long way to go. If we can make them go a long way, we got a chance. Well, we couldn't. They run a reverse to Kevin Williams. He's from Dallas. He's a speedster. He's a very talented player. He gets outside of us, and we do a pretty good job, quite honestly, of running him down. Right there is Cornell Cannon and Mike Clark down to the 5. Again, we did not need that to happen, and it did happen. Okay, now Miami takes over down in here, gives a little play fake. A good job by Jason Gilden. Actually, they called holding on him. The guy grabbed a hold of Gilden. The officials saw it. Okay, second down, they run a draw play and run right up the gut and score on the thing. Come in, and Huerta kicks the extra point. Again, what we did not need to happen, happened. We had eaten up, again, almost 6 minutes of the clock, kicked the ball down on their end of the field. Now we give up a big play. Okay, here we come back out there. Boy, Russell Berry, and you can see that we're having some success running the ball. They're too talented to break off a lot of long runs are. But again, if we can just keep moving the sticks, keep on coming off the football, take care of the football, and again, do these kind of things here. Okay, here's a little give off the option. We can see as things go, we've got a little bit of option game going. Gave it off, didn't make much. Barry Vincent comes in there to punt. This ball hits the ground, and I think it's a 48-yard kick. We get a good roll out of it. Down the ball, now they've got on their own 24-yard line. Okay, they're very talented at throwing and catching football. We were playing some soft coverages, which we normally do. You have to against these type of people. Here they run the counter play. We, by and large, I thought until the latter stages of the game, played their running game pretty well. Again, let them throw the ball up in front of him. We 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys around it. So, again, we're giving ground, but we're giving ground. So we got a little blitz going on ourselves. Now they dump it out there and make sure that we tackle well. Their receiver core is really impressive. Carlos Irving, who had to overcome some tragedy in this ball game, I thought really played well. Here's a counter play. Okay, this good-looking defense here, that's a way to get after him.
He only got a yard.
Yeah, most, by and large, I thought we played their running game well. Again, they've got a lot of throwing game, and they're very talented. Here again, here's another delay or check through the back. Andre Thompson, that's a way to peel back and get after him. I really can't fault us, by and large, effort-wise. Here they're throwing. We got good pressure. Gilden got good pressure. Gilden on a field with talented athletes continued to show up. I run the draw right there. Good play, Eric Garman. We kept on trying to roll fresh people around in the interior. Okay, here Toretta goes back to throw. We had actually a substituted defensive back in the ball game. Should have gotten a little bit closer to him. We were conscious of their speed. I mean, our defensive backs and underneath people, obviously very, very conscious of their speed and quickness. Okay, here they come back and throw a screen. Okay, come on, we missed a tackle there, but they were getting after him still pretty good.
They have to settle for a field goal.
Well, again, this is the theory. In theory, you're giving them a long way to go. If you do that enough times, good defense right here, you got a chance to get them stopped. Here's, I think, a replay coming up of this. Again, we're down, and they're on our end of the field. Good job, good pressure. Garmin, that's a way to get after. We banged Toretta around, I thought, pretty good throughout the course of the afternoon. Again, Huerta comes in and kicks them to 10-0. And again, we had given up some ground, but it was fairly grudgingly in that. Okay, now, right there, this is where the fumble has occurred, right, Jerry?
The fumble has already occurred. Miami has the ball back late in the first quarter.
Now, this was, again, the second tragic occurrence. We fumbled down on our end of the field. All right, Huerta comes back and throws this. We've got people around him. That's Kevin Williams right there. Again, now they're motioning to no backs. He comes back and fires and gets the guy right down the middle. He got inside of one of our linebackers, and he caught it. They run a counter play on the goal line. Boom, good play, Funches. Good play. Again, I can't fault us much in the running game. Of course, they can throw the ball so well that their running game kind of picks off where their throwing game leaves them a little bit. But here again, okay, now he's going to go back and throws. Does a good job of firing this ball in a crease and catching it. They come in and kick the extra point. Now again, we've given up the long reverse and we've given up the fumble, so now we're behind 17-0.
That's the thing you didn't want to have happen. We'll take a look at second quarter highlights when the Pat Jones Show continues in just a couple of minutes.
Well, my family was growing by leaps and bounds. We were having trouble driving around. So before things got too out of hand, I decided I'd get us.
Welcome back to the Pat Jones Oklahoma State Football Show. As the first quarter ended, Miami had scored, so it was 17-0. We pick up the action now, beginning of the second quarter, and Miami's kicking off to Oklahoma State.
We had enough success, Jerry, offensively. Again, I'm not saying that here's Denson right here, thinking we could rip up and down the field on them, but we had made some first downs and we had moved the football. Okay, here we're giving off to the fullback end. This is Rod Sanders. I mean, this was his first carry, first extended playing time. And so we're doing some things here. We sneak and make the first down. Miami is probably not quite as physical in their defensive front as we have seen them in other years. Okay, we give the ball off inside again, but they're still very, very talented. You can see they're getting a little bit more aggressive with some of their run blitz stuff. Some of this is starting to happen now. There's Berry here. Okay, here it is, 3rd down and 10. All right, quarterback draw, break that one tackle right there. Kenny, again, I had the impression, okay, here's big block kick, I'm sorry, that we were doing a few things. This was the 3rd big play. We turned a guy loose right off tackle and gave him up the block kick. Okay, they turn around. This guy actually dribbles this ball. We get knocked down on the corner, and he circles us. But again, the block kick, extremely big play. You know, and this is kind of the way this ball game was. We had done some things here, got a chance now to kick them back down to the other end of the field, and lo and behold, we get a kick block. Okay, here's Theron Turquoise again. We had him and Denson basically using him with the return stuff because we were trying to rest Harmon a little bit. Okay, here's Ford. Now, see, he's ducking up inside on an option, so we're making 5 and 6 yards here. And
Second
again,
and 5.
Ford has got a fairly good knack for this sort of thing. Okay, now we're giving the ball off. Russell Barron, he gets stuck pretty good here. Come back, run a draw. Now they're starting to blitz. Now they're starting to do some things. That's tough duty for anybody. They get you about the time that we get the ball. All right, Vincent comes in, punts. He hits this one pretty good. I take it back. It got by him again. He hits another one later on pretty good. They go back, and Kevin Williams fields this ball and clip, and there's a clip, and it just was raining yellow flags for us. Good play, good tackle by Jason Gilden. Gilden really competed hard. I was very proud of him throughout.
They have terrible field position. They're at the 14.
Well, again, and we're down, but and I thought, hey, if they bust a play here, if we can, a good play, Gilden. And if we can give them a long way to go enough times, some of this stuff is going to start to happen to them. Again, the big plays had just knocked us out of it. They had tried to check off to something, and he went the wrong way. And here again, we've got some people competing around there. Jason Gilden, one of the ones. All right, 2nd and 19. We miss a collision. They get a guy right down the pipe on us. Scotty Harmon was out of the ball game at this point. He got the wind knocked out of him. Their backs, Patton and McGuire and Jones, are big physical guys. So they hit a crease right up in there. They were a little bit stronger and a little bit bigger, quite honestly, than I thought they were live. All right, now they fake off of that same reverse they had hit us on and threw down the middle. We got to wrap up here a little bit better. I thought in spells our tackling got kind of shoddy. So now they're down on our end of the field, 1st and 10. All right, throw a little out back over there. Boom, we knock them out of bounds. Okay, we missed a couple of plays here on the replay, I think. They get right down close, run one in here and get down to the 1. All right, run him. He cannot go up over the top of it. We've got a replay coming up. Again, when they just wanted to challenge us, by and large, with the inside running game, we did do some pretty good things. So they're down on our end of the field. Okay, here they go. Turn around, pitch it on a sweep again, and he cuts back. Come on, right there. Doggone, that was close. Obviously, the official signals touchdown. It's a touchdown. All right, this youngster, this ended a string of however many extra points he had hit, 157, which ended an NCAA record. He's a very talented kicker who's had a very good career down there. All right, kick off to us again. All right, here's Turquoise on the thing. Their special teams are very good. When you have a lot of team speed, that's what's going to happen with special teams. All right, come off, give the ball off to Berrien again. Not much. They've got a lot of quickness in their front seven, got an awful lot of quickness in their entire defensive unit. Not maybe as physical as they have been in some years, but quite a bit of quickness. Okay, come on, give the ball to Berrien. Not much. The thing we wanted to make sure as best we could is we're going to continue to get positive yardage. Here's that same draw and get through one guy. All right, now we got a punt. Boom. I think this is the one he nails. Yeah, you can see he really hits this ball up high, Barry Vincent does. 48 yards. Okay, they a little bit of a crack. Good job, Dimitri Markham. Boy, this guy really competed. Number 80, Dimitri Markham. So proud of him. He's a guy that shows up on special team stuff. Here again, we're down 24. You're in a lot of heat and humidity, and this guy's really competing. They fire it down the middle, and again, we're kind of scrambling around a little bit in the secondary with some substitutions here. They hit it. All right, he give the ball off. Not much. Pretty good defense by Oklahoma State right in here.
They're driving, but watch what happens now.
Well, we're going to start getting, I think, some turnovers down in here, our own selves. They're down on our end of the field. Toretto goes back, throws. Good job, Carlos Irving. Again, I thought as the game wore on, maybe with the exception of a few tackles, Irving has got the ability to make some big plays. Here's a repeat of the same one coming up. And again, he had had some tragedies, some things happened he had to deal with mentally, and he did a great job of it and under tough circumstances. And a good job. His first big, he had 2 interceptions. I think we actually came out ahead overall on turnovers on this thing. So, again, we've got the ball now. All right, give it off on the lead draw and get hit in the head. Okay, here we come, some option stuff. Duck it up inside and again, make positive yardage. Run on the sweep. All right, this is a nice run here by Russell Berry. See, we cut it back inside. Yeah, they're freewheeling defensively. They're blitzing. They're doing some things. But you can see we have made some yards with the exception of just the big plays we had talked about. We've done some things fairly well.
But unfortunately, the clock runs out on the first half, and as Pat and his team head for the locker room to regroup, we'll take a break, and then we'll be back to talk with Coach Pat Jones about what we did in the locker room. When the Pat Jones Show continues in a minute. Welcome back to the Pat Jones Show. We talked earlier, we're at halftime right now. As we talked earlier, Pat, you said your game plan was to be fairly conservative, to eat up the clock, keep the ball on the ground and so forth. I talked with Kenny Ford a few minutes after the game, and he said that you decided to open it up just a little bit in the second half. What are you telling your players?
Well, again, to number one, to offensively, let's keep on doing what we're doing, and if we can get decent field position, we'll try to throw the ball a little bit. It was kind of like you go in at halftime and you've been slugged in the head with a hammer about 3 times, and you're staggered quite a bit. On the same hand, I think our players knew that we had done some things fairly well. Now you're hot, now you're tired, now you're having to get liquids into them and deal with a few minor injuries. The only way really to dig out of one of these things when you're behind at halftime, and what I told them, take it one play at a time. Try to go no further than that. Don't worry about the first half. Take it one play at a time. Opening kickoff, let's just try to, again, have small victories and see if they will mount. Again, the worst thing that we can do is just go out there and now let them start intercepting us, let them start basically wringing our neck. We have to stay to a degree with what we've been doing and then just see what will happen. But one play at a time is what you tell squads when you're in this instance, what I told them yesterday.
You mentioned the fact that the team was hot and it was tired, and no excuses, and I'm not harping on it a lot, but it was hot and a lot of players were losing an awful lot of weight and liquids.
Well, and I could see this happening with Miami's youngsters too, although again they were not under as much pressure as we were.
They're a little bit more used to it.
Well, it was interesting. They had made the remark, one of their coaches told one of our guys after the ball game, with them working, they had just to drive their people because it had been abnormally hot in practice down there the last 2 weeks. Again, that's not an excuse type thing. It was telling on their guys and telling on our guys, but again, they've got a 30-point lead.
Well, at the halftime, it is a 30-0 lead for Miami. And as the second half begins, Pat, you're going to have to kick off because, as we said earlier, they had deferred into the second half. The second half was a much better half of football, in my opinion, for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. When we come back, when the Pat Jones Show continues, we'll take a look at the third quarter between Miami and Oklahoma State. Welcome back, everybody, to the Pat Jones Show. I'm Jerry Park, along with Oklahoma State head football coach Pat Jones. The game is against Miami in the Orange Bowl. And, Pat, we pick up action in the third quarter. You're kicking off to the Hurricane.
We've got to go out there and get them stopped. By and large, I think our coverage units did a pretty good job. You can see our emotional level right in here is pretty. You can see some guys really take shots at him right in here. That's you bet. Again, there's our man Dimitri Markham coming in. They try to run the ball, make a little bit, but we're zinging around pretty good. Again, and in a lot of areas, I can't really fault us. Okay, here they come off to play action. Oh, mercy, we hit him about the time he throws. This kid makes a great catch up in front of us. Now they line up, they motion with all their backs out of the backfield. He's going to get a little bit of a scramble. Torretta I was a little bit more impressed with him, and I didn't really know what to think coming out of the ball game. They did hit a counter play up inside of us right there, but the guy handles himself real well, makes pretty good throws. Now he comes off to play action and throws right here. Good job, Carlos Irving. We've got him covered. But the guy he's a pretty talented quarterback, and his receiver core is very, very, very impressive, to say the least. There he goes. They got a little screen working right here. This was something a little bit different, different type of screen for him. We missed a Wendell Gaines. That's a way to hustle, Big Wendell. There's a defensive lineman running down the field after the ball. Here's a counter play. Get up and stay after him again. That's the way that Mike Clark, okay, and we throw him for a loss. Again, that's encouraging when you see a guy like Wendell Gaines. And chasing down screens and doing this sort of stuff here. I was really pleased with the way he had done something. Okay, now they go back to motion. Flip it out there up in front of us. Okay, that's a way to knock him out of bounds. Don't make much yardage. Keep him up in front of you. Have a little blitz going on. Okay, they dump it off here and their guy drops the ball. So now here they come in and kick a field goal. So we've kicked off to them and got them stopped. They drive down and kick a field goal. But again, I thought our level of things was pretty good with our special teams, with our defense. All right, they kind of hit one, a little bit of a skimmer. Okay, again, we're using Denson a little bit more. You can see here he hasn't really played and practiced a lot of late. We're trying to work him back into things, probably a little bit slower pace. Okay, nice run right here. Okay, good job, Russell Berrien. Denson, we'll get to see a little bit more playing time with him as things go on, and I don't think his ankle suffered any adverse effects. Boy, this is a nice run here on Russell Berrien's part. We're going to see a replay of it. This is the kind of stuff you really like to see out of these young backs. He's going to get hit right at the point of attack, and he's going to spin through it. There he runs through an arm tackle. He's going to break another one right there. He cuts back. Again, I thought Miami was still playing hard. Good job, Russell Berrien. So again, we're doing some things here. First down, we had gotten a penalty. The only penalty we had in the entire ball game. We came out of the game with only one penalty. Here's a little swing screen to Berrien. Again, we're up around midfield. I turn around, pitch it to him on the sweep. Nothing going. They're swarming us pretty good here. They're trying to run some stunts up inside. Ford sits back in here and again, scramble here, but when you go back and throw against these people, I think you're really rolling the dice to a large degree, and it scared me. I will not lie about that. Okay, good punt coverage again. All right, good job down the field. Good job, Harmon. All right, here they come back, a little bootleg off play action. All right, let's see. He fires it down in there, gets right in the hole, and sits down and catches the ball. Again, some of this stuff you're going to have to live with. All right. Run it up inside, nothing. Art Davis, we've got a few other guys in the ball game. We're trying to roll around about as many people as we can in that defensive front to try to keep us as fresh as we possibly can. Okay, we've got pretty good coverage here. He's starting to scramble. All right, that's a good job right there. I think that was Eric Garman, if I'm not mistaken. No, it wasn't. It was Andre Thompson. That a boy, Andre.
Yeah.
So again, we got some guys that are fighting. I really don't think it, by and large, we really ever got out there and gave up. Okay, good coverage. Here's a sack coming up, a fumble. That's the way to stay after. Look at Gilden right here.
4 of them right there.
Yeah, again, we recovered. It's Gilden, again, on a field with a lot of talented guys. And this guy, our guy, excuse me, Jason Gilden, really stands out. Okay, here's a replay of it. We've got him covered down the field. He has to pat the ball and stand back in there. There comes Gilden. That's the way to explode. You can see that burst right there. Come on, men, let's get on the ball. Okay, somebody misses it, somebody missing it. Big old Wendell gets over there and recovers the ball. Gaines, just on sheer effort, does some pretty good things. Okay, here we are, keeping the ball off the option. Good job, Kenny Ford. That's a way to make decisions out on the perimeter. I think this stuff gives us a little bit of chance. To be honest with you, I thought we were probably in a little bit better sync with our running game, even against this level of talent, than I thought I've seen us all year long. I think we now add some variety of the things, and we'll get better at this sort of stuff. Okay, Roger Franks, that's a way to run hard, Roger. That's a way to get your shoulder pads down and churn your feet. Now again, we're down inside there 20. Little bootleg right here. Okay, got him covered. That's the way to pull the ball down, Kenny Ford. Now we're down to Miami's 10-yard line. Replay of it. Again, Ford is, I was really proud of Ford, and he was hot, and he was trying to signal me one time from the sides. I couldn't tell what he said. He was just, his mouth was so dry, he was having a hard time calling signal. Okay, Kenny, there, tuck it and run. Let's go. All right, there you go right here. So again, I thought we actually had a little bit of rhythm on certain things offensively. All right, give it off. Frank said he was down, and they made a good call on the thing. But again, making some yardage, making some positive yards. Okay, all right, now we keep up inside. Kenny has got, again, a little knack for this sort of thing. I think it gives us some direction, really offensively. I maybe feel a little bit better about that than I have at any other point in this season. Now we can get some things. Okay, he got kind of hung up and was a little bit disrupted on his pitch on the sweep. Not much. Okay, now we're coming out. Boy, if we could have got that guy knocked down, might have had a chance to run in or make a little bit cleaner throw. So again, now we come in, kicked a field goal. Ricky Myers comes in, and realistically, Jerry, you'd like to say go for a touchdown. We had gotten off down there, and I really was concerned with letting us have some form of success. All right, we had the screen covered at the point of the attack, and they break it back across the field. Okay, that's a way to hustle after him. Darryl McCowan, that's a good play right there. All right, now we come back. They're going to drop back. All right, he's going to scramble around a little bit and throws it in the dirt in front of Williams. All right, now again, they come back out. They're going to rock and fire and throw it and again catch one up in front of us. So they're just running their offense. I didn't think they were trying to do anything unrealistic to run the score up because there's still an awful lot of time left. That boy, Carlos Irving.
That's his second interception of the day.
His second interception, you bet. They might have gotten a little bit sloppy, but on the same hand, there's still quite a bit of ball game left, and they're playing and we're playing. Okay, here's a replay of it. You can see collision a little bit better. Settle down in there. Good break, Carlos Irving. This is the first real extended playing time he's had. Okay, now we run and get hit in the head. All right, not much, but I thought Russell Berrien ran hard. Okay, mercy goodness. Somebody wonders why I get scared of throwing the ball into people like this. There's a real good example of it there. All right, now we come back and throw here, and who's that, Kirksey? Yeah, Robert makes a nice catch. Again, I know we've got to be able to throw the football. I think we've got to be intelligent about doing it. But boy, these guys have got that. They can rush a passer and they can do this kind of stuff real good. Their defensive guys are out there zinging around still. You can see now they've got a little blitz working. We get the ball off out here to Dimitri Markham. And again, I can't say enough things about this guy's competitive instincts. Boy, he's been covering kicks and catching the ball and scrambling. And if you could have seen what happened to Ford about the time that's what happened to him. They're rough to passer. I mean, again, you're taking your life in your own hands. It's doing certain things against these folks. Okay, comes back, throws out there to Burt Milner. That boy, Burt. Burt Milner was a guy that wasn't intimidated by anything. He's a guy that I know we need to get the ball to, and we're going to. That boy, Burt. That's the way to compete.
And that's the end of the third quarter with threes all over the scoreboard, 33-3, Miami over Oklahoma State. We'll be back to take a look at fourth quarter action when the Pat Jones Show continues in just a few minutes. Well, there's 1 quarter of playing time left between Oklahoma State and Miami in the Orange Bowl. Pat, we pick up the action, the first play of the fourth quarter.
Well, we're down on their end of the field. You see that fan blowing over there on the bench here. I'm sorry. Okay, here's an option. Get it kicked outside to Berrien. And again, we're making some positive yards here, and we'll get better at this sort of stuff. I really think it adds to what we're doing. Again, Kenny's got a fairly good knack at, okay, here's a different sort of option. They kind of ran up the field, and if we could have gotten that kicked, had a chance, but again, we'll get better at that. Okay, we get the guy off down the middle and overthrew the ball. All right, here we're coming back. All right, drop back here. All right, throw it right down in, threw it right in, kind of in behind Cheatwood. Had a chance right in here. All right, again, we're down on their end of the field, and let's watch what happens here. Okay, they've got us covered down the end, going for it, and boy, that's tough. That's tough duty right here against these people. Okay, that was fourth down. We went for it. They're coming back. Now they work a screen. They throw it to the outside. Come on, Clarence, get a hold of him. Nobles, Funches. Okay, ball squirts out. Okay, here Michael Woolridge. That's, again, the kind of effort you take to get enough guys taking shots at people. We're gonna get the ball. So now we've got it right back. Again, Miami is still playing ball. They're still doing the things that you got to do. Okay, good job by Jason Gilden. You can see he's showing up all over every place. Boy, Clarence, okay, that's Funches. Stay with him. Turquoise. All right, the ball comes squirting out. Comes right into Woolridge's hand. Again, I think we came out overall on the plus side of the turnover deal. All right, now back on, okay, turn around, give the ball off, spinning, twisting, not much. All right, here we go. Here's Kenny Ray Ford going back. All right, little option fake. Come on, that's a way to turn up the field. Make them miss you, Kenny. Okay, that a boy. Again, I thought in here in certain points, I still felt like we were in sync. Okay, there's short yardage right here, and pick it up offensively. Now again, there's certain things that I'm over there thinking, boy, even under any kind of circumstances, are really going to be hard to do against these people. But I was again encouraged by some of this stuff. Okay, try to throw a little pass off the option. They got it covered. You'd like for him to fire the ball away, but again, you're dealing with real quality opposition here. Goes back to throw. We got a little screen working ourselves. Throw it off to L.G. Thompson. Make a little bit of a cut, and we're gaining some ground back. We have taken a sack, but we got the screen off to LG. And there's a Miami guy that's come back and played pretty well. Back to throw, mercy, goodness, right? I mean, you can't even get set when they bear down on you. Okay, now we get the punt off, Barry Vincent. Again, short punt, like to want to pin them back up down in there. You kind of like to have gone for it, but hey, I had no feeling we could pick up that kind of yardage against these people.
Miami with a new quarterback, Costa.
Yeah, they put their backup quarterback in the ball game, and they play so many receivers, and again, he's back up this back right here.
Jones.
That's Jones. Yeah, I mean, he's a good-looking back. Now he's a big, strong guy. Again, I thought we got a little bit shoddy on some stuff on the interior, kind of staying on various sides of blocking this sort of things right here. Okay, you can see he's not doing some of the things that Toretta was doing. All right, now they come back out, and he's going to set and kind of fires one again out there in front of us. Okay, good job, Carlos Irving. We get back right here, turns and gives the ball off. You can see we got a nose guard that got in behind the block, and they make some yards here. He comes back and sets and throws. All right, good job, fellas. Good job. He caught it. Got a boy up there in Turquoise. All right, they come, hand the ball off here. Not much. Got a bunch of attaboy Woolridge. We got Gilden's trying to pull the ball out from him. Okay, good job, fellas. We're fighting and scratching pretty hard again right in here, and that's what I'm trying to pay attention to. They run the draw play, break a tackle. Okay, man, this guy's a big, strong back. Broke a tackle by one of our linebackers right here. Throws in. We do a pretty good job again of keeping them out right here. Okay, good job, Carlos Irving. All right, they're going to come back and throw it out there. Good job of keeping people up in front of you. Good job of folks getting over there and taking a shot at them. All right, here they come, back motion. All right, back in here. Ball's batted up. David Brooks batted that ball up, and big Wendell Gaines makes the interception. You can see it. It's encouraging to see him start to show up more and more and more.
Let's look at it again.
Replay, let's see if we can see. Okay, we got a little cross stunt going up in the middle right there. I think it might have been Garmin. That might have been Garmin that batted that ball up in the air. Okay, and again, Wendell Gaines gets it intercepted. Good job, Wendell. Good job, fellas in the interior. There was an exchange after this. They got a late touchdown on us, which upset me a little bit. 33-3 looks a little bit better, and the ball game's over.
So the final is Miami 40, Oklahoma State 3. Pat Jones and I will be back to recap the game in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back to the Pat Jones Show. Pat, as we began this program, we talked about the fact that you want to play a conservative football game and kind of keep the clock moving and make some positive things happen. Some positive things did come out. For example, for the first time this season, you had more time of possession than your opponent.
Well, I think the things that glare at me statistically, and you can't always tell about that time possession deal, Jerry, but and that surprised me a little bit when I looked at it after. We had the ball almost 10 minutes more than Miami. I think the other thing that jumped out at me statistically is we won the turnover battle. Mm-hmm. We took the ball away, had some fun, we got some fumbles, got some interceptions, and the other thing that is again continues to be very encouraging to me, and I'm not sure how all this fits in there, but we only had one penalty. I think we've gone 3 penalties, 2 penalties, 3 penalties, 1 penalty. I think it's a great tribute to our kids, particularly under this kind of pressure against this type of opponent. Again, not to really get real rattled and go to jumping off sides or line up wrong and this sort of stuff. Again, the turnover, I think we're now either even or 1 behind for the entire season, and that's usually a fairly accurate stat. And then for us to be able to hold the ball some on this quality of competition, I think is encouraging. We're obviously still searching a little bit, or maybe more than that, on our direction of things offensively. I think we've come out of this ball game, I do, with a little bit different feel for certain things. They had the 71-yard reverse, and I think there were like 14 or 15 plays that were 15 yards or more. And so there were more big plays in there, which you would expect against these type of people here. The 71-yarder, again, knocked us in the head. Just like we talked about earlier, the block punt, the fumble down in there. So, again, sure, we took ourselves out of things, but on the same end, I can look back and say, yeah, we did get some things done really in a very pressurized environment.
In the second half, a much better half of football as it was against TCU. Do you see that as a key?
Well, I can't really say that, Jerry, because we started off and drove the ball for 6 minutes.
That's true.
The opener of the ball game. So I can't say again. Things had to work right for us. We drive it 5 or 6 minutes, kick it down to their end of the field. What in the half part of it, I really can't explain that all the time. I think we did a better job of preventing big plays in the second half, which is easier said than done.
Well, they threw to just about everybody they had throughout the football game. I think there were 9 or 10 different receivers that caught the football. But 3 Oklahoma State guys Three interceptions. Which
Well,
is key.
again, I watched their receiver corps warm up down there, and I promise you, there's 9 real impressive-looking guys, and counting their backs down there, it's like a stable of thoroughbreds. I mean, they've got some really classy-looking athletes at the skill position. Again, you keep them from getting over the top of you, which by and large we did. A certain amount of that stuff they're going to do against anybody.
Well, that's the Miami football game. The final again, 40-3, Miami wins. We'll be back with Coach's Corner, Coach Pat Jones, on the Pat Jones Show in just a minute. Welcome to Coach's Corner. Each week at this time, we'll present Coach Pat Jones with a topic and let him expound upon that. Pat, at this point, the 4 non-league games are over with, and you begin to play teams that you're basically more familiar with than in the other games.
Well, I think a couple of things here, Jerry. I was thinking on the plane flight back. I mean, one of the reasons it's hard, and it's hard for me as a head coach, or not easy, put it that way, to deal with. From 1983 through 1988 in the non-league, that's counting bowls, I think I'm correct in saying that we were 26-3.
Great
record. So what I'm getting at here, we've lost 4 non-league games. We lost these 4 non-league games as far as from what we're dealing with or what I'm dealing with emotionally than we did in that whole string from 83 through 88. Now, again, that's things that head coaches got to handle. But what I've always observed out of teams around Oklahoma State, regardless of the circumstances, once you get into league play, again, like you mentioned, it's people that you're familiar with, people you tend to recruit against more. We know a little bit more about their personnel. I won't say it's a new season starting again, but to a degree it is that way. You're playing for the Big 8 championship now every week. So I think it adds a little bit different twist to it. Obviously, we got Nebraska, which we'll talk about a little bit later coming up. But again, I'm anxious to get. I'm glad we're back into this part of it. Again, I think we've got to a degree some things done over the non-league schedule, coped with a few injuries. Momentum-wise, I think the kids can handle this. Again, I think they look at it. Hey, here comes now the Nebraskas, here comes the OUs, here comes the people we play with year in and year out. I think our fans, because it's people that you are familiar with, tend to turn it up a notch when you're dealing with these kind of folks. So, yeah, I'm really glad myself that we're through with the non-league, now that we're into the part of it that we play traditionally year after year after year and get back to the places we traditionally play in.
You talked about the fans. Of course, the fans are a big part of the atmosphere around Lewis Field, and especially with the big games coming up. We need better fans. Not better, because the fans are great.
Well, one of the things I can
be loud. Is that what you're saying?
Well, when we'll deal with this a little bit later. Again, I think when you're dealing with the traditional rivalries, I think that adds to from the fan side of it. And yeah, these people have always been loud, and they'll be loud again.
Well, one of the traditional rivalries happens next Saturday when Oklahoma State will host Nebraska. We'll talk about that game when the Pat Jones Show continues in just a minute. Well, the Big 8 conference race is ready to begin. Saturday, 1:30 in Stillwater. Pat, here comes Nebraska.
Well, I can think back, Jerry, to our series in recent years with Nebraska. I think probably the loudest I have ever heard Lewis Stadium was when their great offensive unit came down here in 1983, and that was when O'Neal and those guys were young, and they beat us 14-10, in which I think was one of the more classic games I've ever been involved with. We played up there, and they beat us 17-3 in '84, which was one of the more widely watched. I think the ratings of that game, whoever was carrying college football that year, was still one of the more widely watched games ever played. '85, we got in a big shootout with them down here, very high scoring game. '86, again, we played them up there. All these games were on national television. We played them up there when we were struggling a little bit and dug our way back into the ball game. '87 down here, they had Neil Smith and a great Nebraska defensive unit. They jumped on us pretty good. '88, we had one of the crazier ball games I've ever been. Yeah, it was ridiculously high scoring. It was 62-42 or some crazy thing like that up there with our great offensive football team. Interestingly enough, the last 2 years, Jerry, we've thrown some very near misses. Then we did it up there last year. We've gotten into some cat and mouse stuff with some blitzes with them, which will be kind of interesting this year. But I don't know, up there last year, right down to the last play of the third quarter, and then we fumble a couple of kicks. Down here 2 years ago, it was about the same way. We block a punt on them and get back in the ball game. it's been some of the wilder affairs, league-wise. Again, some of the loudest crowds, some of the more active games with anybody that we've played in this league that I've ever been associated with. I don't know a lot about them right now. They've lost a ball game to Washington. They had an open date. They've had a couple of injuries. They beat Arizona State out there a couple of weeks ago. But again, I'm anxious for us to get into league play. Looking forward to the preparation for Nebraska.
Well, again, the kickoff is at 1:30 in Stillwater, Oklahoma State and Nebraska. Thanks for being with us. Pat and I'll be back with you next week on the Pat Jones Show.